Harold walked into my office on a Tuesday morning. 68 years old, retired electrician. Felt fine, mostly. Just a little more tired than usual. His blood pressure had been creeping up, and he mentioned, almost as an afterthought, that he'd been getting up once or twice a night to use the bathroom. Just part of getting older, right, Doc? I ordered some routine blood work, nothing special. A week later, I had to make a phone call I never enjoy making. Harold, your kidneys are only working at 30%. That's stage 3B chronic kidney disease. Silence on the other end. No pain, no warning signs he recognized, just silent failure. Here's what I want you to understand. Harold's story doesn't have to be yours. I'm Dr. Maria Gulden. I've been practicing cardiology for 25 years, and in that time, I've learned something important about kidneys. They don't complain. They don't give you obvious signals until a lot of damage is already done. But here's the good news. Most of that damage, it comes from habits, things we do every day without thinking, and habits can be changed. Today, I want to walk you through what I shared with Harold, the everyday habits that quietly harm your kidneys, and more importantly, what you can do instead. This isn't about perfection, it's about awareness. Let's start with something Harold didn't know he was doing wrong. Your kidneys are remarkable. Every single day, they filter about 200 liters of fluid. That's like filling up 400 water bottles. Every single day. They balance your minerals. They regulate your fluids. They clear out toxins your body doesn't need. But they can only do this job if we don't get in their way. And unfortunately, a lot of us are getting in their way without even realizing it. I'm not going to give you a long list of 10 separate things to worry about. That's overwhelming. Instead, let me show you the 3 main ways people unknowingly harm their kidneys. Think of it like this. Imagine your kidneys are a high-performance filter in a fish tank. There are really only 3 ways to damage that filter. You can clog it with the wrong stuff. You can starve it of what it needs, or you can overwork it until it wears out. Same with your kidneys. Let me show you what I mean, and let me tell you how Harold was doing all 3. The first problem, clogging the filter. When Harold first came to me, I asked him about his typical day. Breakfast was usually toast with jam, sometimes a muffin from the coffee shop. Lunch was often a sandwich from the deli near his house. Dinner, his wife would make pasta a few times a week. I don't eat a lot of junk food, he told me. No candy bars, no soda. And he was right about that. But here's what Harold didn't understand. That bread, that pasta, that deli sandwich. To his kidneys, they were almost as damaging as a candy bar. Let me explain why. When you eat foods that spike your blood sugar, your body has to deal with a sudden flood of glucose. White bread, pasta, pastries, fruit juice, they all do this. Think of it like turning on all the faucets in your house at once. The pipes can handle normal flow, but when you flood the system, things start to break. In your kidneys, that flood damages something called the glomeruli. That's pronounced glomeruli. Those are the tiny, tiny filters inside your kidneys. Millions of them, each one made of incredibly delicate blood vessels. And here's the part that surprised Harold. This damage starts happening long before you have diabetes. Long before any doctor tells you your blood sugar is a problem. The spikes themselves cause harm, even if your fasting blood sugar looks normal on a test. So what did Harold do? We made some changes. Not overnight. Gradually. He swapped out the toast for eggs, the sandwich for a salad with grilled chicken, the pasta for vegetables with olive oil and some good quality meat. Was it easy? He told me it took about 3 weeks before he stopped missing the bread. But after 2 months, something interesting happened. His energy came back, and his kidney numbers started to improve. Now, bread and pasta aren't the only things that clog the filter. Processed foods do the same thing, but in a different way. These are foods with long ingredient lists. Things with additives, preservatives, phosphates. You find them in soft drinks, in dried fruit, which people often think is healthy, in deli meats, in most snack foods. These phosphates and additives add an extra burden to your kidneys. More stuff they have to process, more work for an already delicate system. The solution is simple, even if it's not always easy. Cook at home. Eat real food. Things with one ingredient. Chicken is chicken. Broccoli is broccoli. Butter is butter. The more your food looks like it did when it was growing, the less work your kidneys have to do. The second problem, starving the filter. Here's something that doesn't get talked about enough. Your kidneys need certain things to work properly, and if they don't get those things, they start to struggle. The most obvious one is water. I asked Harold how much water he drank. He laughed. I drink plenty of fluids, Doc. Coffee in the morning, tea in the afternoon, maybe a soda with dinner. I said, that's fluids, but how much plain water? He thought about it. I don't know. A glass, maybe? I smiled. Harold, I drink 3 cups of coffee before 9 a.m. I'm not judging, but water is different. He looked relieved. Like he'd expected a lecture. I don't do lectures, I do explanations. Here's the thing about kidneys. They're like a car wash for your blood, and you can't run a car wash without water. Coffee, tea, soda, these all have water in them, sure, but they also have other things your kidneys have to process. Caffeine, sugar, additives. It's like trying to rinse soap off your car using more soapy water. It doesn't work as well. When you're chronically dehydrated, a few things happen. Your blood gets thicker. There's less volume to filter. Waste products become more concentrated, and certain minerals start clumping together, which is how kidney stones form. Harold started carrying a water bottle. Just a simple change. Drinking plain water throughout the day instead of waiting until he was thirsty. I didn't realize how dehydrated I'd been, he told me later. I just thought being thirsty was normal. But water isn't the only thing your kidneys need. They also need good blood flow. And here's something a lot of people don't realize. Those over-the-counter pain pills, the ones with ibuprofen or naproxen, they reduce blood flow to your kidneys. For occasional use, that's usually fine. But Harold had been taking ibuprofen almost every day for his back pain. For years. It's over the counter, he said. I figured it was safe. And for most people, occasionally, it is. But regularly, over time, it adds up. Less blood flow means less oxygen. Less oxygen means less healing. Less healing means gradual damage. We found Harold some other ways to manage his back pain. Turmeric supplements for inflammation. Some gentle stretching. Occasionally, when he really needed it, he'd take the ibuprofen. But not every day. The other thing that starves your kidneys, high blood pressure. When your blood pressure is too high, it damages those tiny blood vessels in your kidneys. It hardens them, makes them less flexible, reduces their ability to filter properly. Harold's blood pressure had been around 145. His previous doctor had mentioned it, but Harold hadn't taken it too seriously. Nobody said it was an emergency, he told me.
And it wasn't an emergency. Not at 145. But over time, that steady pressure was wearing down his kidneys' filtering capacity. We worked on his blood pressure through diet changes, stress management, and some breathing exercises I'll tell you about in a moment. The third problem: overworking the filter. Now, here's where it gets a little tricky. There's a lot of confusion out there about protein and kidneys. You might have heard that protein damages your kidneys. That's not quite accurate. Protein doesn't harm healthy kidneys at all. But if your kidneys are already struggling, like Harold's were, loading up on very lean protein can make them work harder than they should. Let me explain. When you eat protein, your body breaks it down and creates waste products like urea, pronounced urea. Your kidneys have to filter that out. For healthy kidneys, no problem. They handle it easily. But for kidneys that are already at 30% capacity, it's like asking someone with a bad back to lift heavy boxes. They can do it, but it's not helping them heal. The key word here is lean. Harold had been eating a lot of chicken breast without the skin because he thought that was healthy. And for someone with healthy kidneys, it would be, but very lean protein without enough fat can create extra strain. Think of it like this. Protein without fat is like running an engine without oil. It works, but it creates more friction, more heat, more wear. Fat is the oil. It helps everything run smoothly. So instead of skinless chicken breast every night, mix it up. Eggs with the yolks, chicken thighs with the skin, salmon, sardines, beef with some marbling. Harold switched from plain chicken breast to salmon twice a week and eggs for breakfast. Same amount of protein, much less kidney stress. I actually enjoy eating more now, he told me. Who knew the yolk was the best part? The other thing that overworks your kidneys is something most people don't even consider: sugar. Not just because of blood sugar spikes, which we talked about, but because of fructose specifically. Fructose, the sugar found in table sugar and especially in high fructose corn syrup, creates metabolic damage. It raises uric acid. It promotes inflammation. It makes your liver fatty. All of this extra metabolic garbage ends up being processed by, you guessed it, your kidneys. Harold wasn't eating candy bars, but he was drinking orange juice every morning because he thought it was healthy. Fruit juice, in terms of what it does to your body, is almost as hard on your kidneys as soda. We swapped the juice for whole berries. Same vitamins, fraction of the sugar, much less kidney stress. There's one more thing I want to mention, because it affected Harold more than he realized. Stress. Harold had been running his own electrical business for 30 years. Even in retirement, he was always busy, always moving, always thinking about the next project. I don't know how to relax, he admitted, and his body showed it. When you're chronically stressed, your body stays in what we call fight or flight mode. Cortisol, your stress hormone, stays high. Blood pressure stays elevated. Inflammation stays active. All of this is hard on your kidneys. Sleep is part of this too. Harold was sleeping about 5 hours a night. His body never really got a chance to repair.
I taught him a simple breathing technique. Let me share it with you, too. Breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Breathe out through your mouth for 6 seconds. That's 1 cycle. Do 5 cycles. Takes about a minute. That's it. That's it? Harold asked. That's going to help my kidneys? I told him to try it for 2 weeks, just twice a day, morning and night. He came back and said, "Doc, I don't know if it's helping my kidneys, but I'm sleeping better than I have in years." It was helping his kidneys. His next blood test showed it. Now, I need to be very clear about something. Everything I've shared with you today is general information. It's not a substitute for working with your own doctor. If you have kidney disease, especially stage 3 or beyond, you need to work with a nephrologist. That's pronounced nephrologist. A kidney specialist. Why? Because the rules change. For healthy people, potassium is great. Sodium, in moderation, is fine. Plenty of protein is healthy. But for damaged kidneys, these things need to be monitored carefully. Your kidneys may not be able to regulate minerals the way they should. Please, please don't try to manage advanced kidney disease on your own. Also, if you experience any of these symptoms, see a doctor right away. Swelling in your legs or ankles. Foamy urine. Blood in your urine. Severe fatigue that doesn't improve. Persistent nausea. These could be signs that your kidneys need attention. And one more thing. Never stop taking any medication your doctor has prescribed without talking to them first. Even if you're making lifestyle changes, even if you feel better, changes in medication need to be supervised. So what happened to Harold? It's been 18 months since that phone call. His kidney function has stabilized, actually improved slightly, from 30% to 35%. That might not sound like much, but for kidney disease, stabilization is success. Improvement is remarkable. He's lost 15 pounds, mostly from cutting out the processed foods. His blood pressure is down to 128. His energy is better than it's been in years. Last month he told me something that made my day. "You know what, Doc? I used to think this was just about not dying, but now I actually feel good. Better than I did at 60. That's what this is about. Not just avoiding disease, but actually feeling better. And Harold's not alone. Let me tell you briefly about Margaret. 71 years old, retired schoolteacher. She came to me not because anything was wrong, but because her sister had just been diagnosed with kidney disease. "I want to check mine," she said, "just in case." Smart woman. Her kidneys were at stage 2, still functioning at about 70%. No symptoms at all. We caught it early. She made the changes I've shared with you today. Real food, more water, less stress, regular walks with her dog. 2 years later, her kidney function is back in the normal range, 92%. Her doctor asked her what she did. She said, "I just started paying attention." That's often all it takes. Your kidneys work hard for you every single day, filtering, balancing, protecting, all without you having to think about it. And they're remarkably forgiving. If you give them what they need and stop doing the things that hurt them, they can often stabilize, sometimes even improve. The changes aren't complicated. Real food instead of processed. Water instead of just other drinks. Movement instead of constant sitting. Rest instead of constant stress. Simple doesn't mean easy, but it is doable. If Harold's story resonated with you, I'd be honored if you'd subscribe. Next week, I'm going to share something Harold asked me about: the foods that can actually help your kidneys heal. Not just not harmful, actually helpful. I think you'll find it practical. And if you know someone who might benefit from hearing this, someone who might be doing these things without realizing it, I'd be grateful if you'd share this with them. Sometimes a single video changes everything. One last thing. You don't have to change everything at once. Pick one thing from today. Just one. More water. Less processed food. A few slow breaths before bed. Start there. Your kidneys have been working hard for you your whole life. Now you know how to return the favor. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you next week.